is Jason JROCK Houston, and this is Chaotic Riffs Magazine. Our special guest for tonight is lead singer Donald Carpenter from a band Apollo Under Fire. How you doing tonight, Don?
How's it going? Thanks for having me.
Yeah. It's great to have you. Now, you guys are based out of Orlando, Florida. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah. We have two of our members that are in Orlando. Me and Peter over here in Tampa. We'll place again. We're off somewhere.
Oh, well, that's great. So, how long has the band actually been together?
We've been working on this for a little over 2 years now. We just kind of put the final pieces of the puzzle together within the last 6 months. We found Jimmy and added 2 times to the
Oh, how exciting! Now, wow. Now, I got to ask you, Donald, being that you're the frontman of the band, did you start out as a guitar player and become a singer later on, or were you always the frontman?
I started out as a musician in general, in school and other ways. And when I got to high school, the Soundgarden Super Unknown and Candlebox and
okay, yeah.
Alpha Chasers and all these records came out, and it really kind of inspired me to, start my first little garage band. And at that point, I was just discovering my ability to sing, and those vocalists at that time were very inspiring. And so I really started focusing on that and became more of a vocalist and a musician. But I've always kept that. I've always been a writer, and you've got to have an instrument to facilitate that. And music's always been that instrument of choice. I mean, the guitar's always been that instrument of choice.
How interesting. I asked that because a lot of guys start out as like simply a guitar player, and then they move their way to become a singer slash songwriter. And so on that, when you started singing, I was curious. Did it take you a while to get to a point where you were comfortable hearing your voice, how it sounded on the playback and that?
Yeah, I remember the first time that I got to experience stereo and really hear it, and discovered just how challenging it is to get there and to get in front of that compressed microphone, kind of close to all of that, those blobs of voice. It's one of those things. We were just up in New York on a short trip, and we had the fortune of going to the Merrimack School of Rock. And got in there with the kids. Peter set up his little laptop, and he set up a couple of microphones. We were recording our rehearsal, but we had some of the kids come in, and they got in there and jammed, and then we played them back their jam. You could see their eyes light up, when they heard, the guitar playing or their drumming or their vocals for the first time, and just exactly what you're describing. You kind of get the itch, and that's kind of what starts that snowball.
How cool is that? Now, a good example of kind of what we're talking about is you take a guy like, Dave Mustaine, who got his start in Metallica, obviously, and for years he was just a lead guitar player, and then up until he starts his own band, he kind of also, the story that's been told, kind of became a singer on necessity in the sense that he couldn't find anybody he felt that could perform his material to his satisfaction, so to speak. And I would imagine a lot of times when you're a songwriter, you're a guy writing the bulk of the lyrics, it's a lot easier for you to go in and sing your own material. Whereas if you have another guy come in and sing it, you might be more critical of the way he's singing as opposed if you just did it yourself.
Yeah, I think it all depends on the situation. For somebody like Dave, I know that a lot of his stuff is probably very personal, but he's going to want to translate that process to his audience. I think it's almost fitting that he would want to take control of that. Same thing for like a good friend of mine, Mark Tremonti. He just started Tremonti, and that's really kind of him being able to venture out there because he did a lot of writing and singing, even down to the lyrics and stuff. And he would tell us, and how he actually gets to translate that vocally as well. I think it's encouraging as an artist. I think today that single road, your one band is kind of over. I think it's good for artists to do it in different ways. For a majority of my career, I was, primarily a vocalist. And, now that I'm in Apollo and I'm writing a lot of the music, the first record, and playing the guitar more, I'm starting to venture kind of the opposite way. I'm starting to play while I'm singing more, and I'm starting to enjoy becoming a part of the composition,
Yeah.
And kind of letting the message in the music be the front band, you know, because, you know, I think in a lot of ways, you know, sometimes those front band mentalities come out of, you know, the fact that maybe the context of music is very strong, or, you know, they don't really know how to speak very eloquently, you know, so you have to kind of put on a show.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's great, you know, there's value to that. You know, for something like Apollo, you know, we have such a deep rooted message in the music that I think it's nice to kind of let that shine, you know, and kind of let it do its work, and that's really kind of where we're at right now.
Yeah, well, Don, I'm going to share something with you. Prior to talking to your publicist and getting this interview set up, I'd never heard of the band before, and honestly, you know, I like to do research before I talk to people, so I went on your Facebook page and I checked out the single, which is called "You Gotta Believe," and this is the first thing I've actually heard from you guys, and I gotta tell you, I'm quite impressed. I mean, and to the date, this is the only song I've heard from you guys, but this is such a strong and powerful track. It's like you guys are the best new band I've discovered lately, and it makes me want to go out and pick up the album and check out the rest of the album. Now, with that being said, because I believe the album was just released on June 3rd. With that being said, I got to ask you, if people go and pick up the album, are we going to kind of get a mixed bag? You know, is there kind of like something on there for everybody? Does a lot of the stuff sound the same? How would you describe overall sound of what we're going to get on this album?
You know, I mean, that's definitely, it's very dynamic. You know, I mean, we have a lot of acoustic textures on this record. You know, even on the first single, "Gotta Believe," you know, there's a lot of 12-string acoustic work.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's familiar, you know, back to Led Zeppelin, you know, and I think a lot of our sound is rooted within classic rock, but, you know, we're trying to facilitate the soundtrack through the message, and sometimes that message has a little more edge to it, so we dial up the distortion a little more, and sometimes we're trying to step back and really kind of get out of the way of the story, and so you have something like "Sweet Freedom," which is a single acoustic, a single vocal, and Peter doing a little, you know, nylon string work in the back, and a little surprise at the end. So, I mean, you know, we were trying to be a little unpredictable, but we were also trying to be, you know, somewhat familiar, and, you know, we wanted to create a record that you could sit down with your entire family, from you know, the great-great-grandmother down to the great-great-grandchild, and everybody would have something to pull from it. You know, we want music to bring people together. It's going to be like a big warm hug, you know.
Yeah, how cool is that? Because, you know, again, you know, just having heard the one track, "You've Gotta Believe," to me, this track, I mean, typically a band will, you know, they'll come out with like for their first single, like something a little hard edge. But I got to tell you, I think you made a great pick for a lot of reasons. I mean, like I said, I've just heard the one track and it really spoke to me. It's like, man, I want to get the whole album. I want to see what these guys are about. And it's just a really overall, just a great sounding, really great written song. And see, typically, kind of bands I like are. You know, like you could have a band, for example, that, you know, it's got 4 or 5 great-looking guys, but if that's all you've got to offer, you're not going to go too far. I really dig the bands where you know, the songs tell stories. There's something behind the songs, and just having heard the one track, I'm like, you know, I was so impressed with what it was really written well. I mean, it's a greatly written track, and it really takes people on a journey. And if that's what the people get with the rest of the album, you know, I want to go out and hear, you know, the entire album.
Oh, man, I appreciate it. I mean, that's mission accomplished, you know. I mean,
yeah.
You know, like you said, it really struck you. The message struck you, and that's what we're trying to do. I mean, you know, I've played in aggressive bands in the past. You know, that's my history in the music business, and you know, I always felt like you kind of had to walk in the room and just punch everybody down and just really grab their attention. With this music, it's even more powerful. We've been out there to get to play because, you know, like you said, it's very tender messages. I mean, some of these messages are very heavy in context.
Yeah.
The heaviest, you know, sonically, as far as that goes, but the context of the songs are very heavy, you know, and they're telling stories that need to be told and giving people a voice that need to be heard. And, you know, there's just, you know, we just believe that there's enough of that negativity out there. We believe that big machine is really pumping out that fear, pumping out that hatred and that anger, and just what better thing than just
and see, again, like, you take a track, and I keep bringing up the track "You Gotta Believe" because that's what I've heard so far. But it's not a track like that. It's not acoustic just for the sake of being acoustic. You know what I mean? It fits the song, and it's it doesn't come across as you guys trying to be pretentious, trying to follow the latest trend. This is just who you are. And now let me ask you, as a songwriter, like, do you prefer to tell people, okay, this is what I wrote this song about, or do you rather people listen to the song and kind of get their own thing out of it?
I think as a writer, you try to be very honest, very open. I think the more open and honest you are, I think the more relatable it becomes to the listener. They can automatically put themselves, in that first-person perspective. So mission accomplished there. When you come and you start playing it live, I think that's where you really get into that aspect of storytelling. And since we started getting out there with this music, that's kind of what I've started doing. And like I said, letting the message in the song become the front end, and opening up that door for, that understanding before we actually perform the track itself. And as we come together, there's a song called "Feel Your Love," which is on the record, and I wrote it about, my experience watching very close friends of mine, their children being diagnosed with pediatric cancer.
Wow.
Struggles that, they went through as a family and as a couple and all these things, and just about the positivity and the triumph, that comes out of that. It's a very heartfelt record. It's very personal.
Yeah. I guess what I was kind of asking is, like, you take any of the songs on the album, you know what they're really about. Even, you get up on stage, you tell the people, you tell the fans, this is what, I wrote this about. But how exciting is it for you as a songwriter where, maybe a fan comes up to you after a show or something, and they tell you, man, I really got off on this song. I really love this song, this one particular song on the album. This is what I got out of it. And you're kind of thinking, wow, that's not even what the song's about. But wow, this person got something totally different than what the song's, they've got their own experience just based on the song. That's got to be a cool feeling.
Yeah, it's affirmation. There's so many days in this journey are spent inside your little box with, the same minds around you, and you get a little burdened, you get a little, oversaturated with things, and whenever you can finally get into the people's hands, and it starts to do its work, you start to see that magic happen. It's what it's all about. It's all about it. And when you have a message like we have, it really starts to see the impact of it. Like I said, it's affirmation, it's support, it's kind of God's way of saying, hey, this is what you're here for. Looking for fruits, you're there for, understand that, use that as a way to get closer to the message and keep fighting.
And another thing I like to touch base with you on, Donald, here as we're talking, I'm looking at your Facebook page, and I'm at the top reading where you posted, due to popular demand, I am going to be posting handwritten lyric sheets here for you guys and gals. Which song would you like me to start with? Now, that's kind of interesting. I imagine a little bit of work goes into that, but people just started wanting you to post your lyrics. Tell us a little bit about this, because that's quite an interesting thing.
Social media is really great and unbelievable platform to do that, to facilitate that interaction. We're on there every day. We've got certain fans that are on there every day, and they're interacting, and they request certain things. What is this song about? What is that song about? And what better way to kind of get involved and to put a little extra effort into it and get a little hands-on with it.
And then the one track we've been talking about a lot today is You Gotta Believe. Now, there's a lyric video up for that also on the Facebook page I was noticing. And how hard was that to create for you guys to put that little video package together to post it up there, against the song?
We had some great friends. A project like this is very, very dependent on people that truly believe in what you're doing. And you need a lot of help to get some of this stuff done. And with Jimmy Kwong, our rhythm player, he had a really close friend who's helped him with some stuff, and his other band, Soul Switch. And he was able to put it together fairly quickly. It's not like anything else that you give an artist a heads up
Yeah, and that's the reason I brought it up, because again, just kind of discovering the band recently. When I checked out the video, I thought, well, it's not your typical music video, but at the same time, the imagery that you guys picked to go with that, it really fit. And I thought, wow, how cool is this? What a great little way to market yourself. And talking a little bit about the power of internet. How cool is it for you, Don, that, like you were mentioning earlier, you get people, messaging you on Facebook and, emailing you guys, letters and stuff. And, I mean, you must get, messages from people halfway around the world, like, in countries where the band hasn't even stepped foot in. And that's got to be a great little feeling, halfway around the world, somebody in a country where we haven't even played live, is checking out our music.
Yeah, I mean, it's testament that people are hungry for the message, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that, they hear you loud and clear, and they're receptive, they support you. And, I mean, that's what it takes. I mean, everybody's wondering what's going to happen to the business, what's happening to the business. And it's a little bit of a growing pain. We're getting closer to the root, which is the artist and the receiver, of that art. And that's what it's all about. It's a beautiful thing.
Because I believe, several years ago, I believe a lot of our big record companies really did ruin it for themselves. I mean, that's what makes kind of your story so amazing. I mean, what I want to get into next is I know you guys are being distributed by the EMP label group, which is, of course, Dave Ellefson's record label. I was curious, how did you guys hook up with him?
Well, it's, kind of synchronicity along the journey. We've all had mutual friends in business throughout the years. Me and Dave kind of crossed paths back when I was in my previously in Empire. We did a benefit for soldiers with PTSD, and I was familiar with kind of his approach to life, and whenever Kevin Gold approached us with the opportunity to kind of get involved with him and EMP, we thought it was a cool opportunity, and one that we could really pass up.
Yeah, to me, what makes it such a cool opportunity is the fact that it's a new independent label, on the surface, but at the same time, they're coming out very strong. I mean, it's not just like they just got a couple of releases. They've been coming out with new releases like almost every month since they launched the label. And the other cool thing about this is the fact you got a label that's run by a guy who's an actual musician. It's not some guy in a suit who doesn't know what it takes to take a band on the road. So Dave's a guy that he's been there, he's lived the life. So when he signs a band like Apollo Under Fire, or even distributes your record through his label, here's a guy that's he's lived the life. He could he's really in a place to give you guys advice, to advise you, as opposed to versus say a guy in a suit who might just I don't hear anything commercial, I want something more radio friendly, go back and write me a hit. That's what I think makes this story so cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, and that was all facilitated by Kevin Gold was really the first to kind of step up for Peter in a lot of ways. Peter produced and mixed this whole album, and it was really his first venture into the production world. And,
oh wow.
Scott McKinley at Kevin Gold is a big supporter of what Peter does, and to be able to step up and say, hey guys, I'm in a nice position right now, but I believe in what you're doing. I want to try to help you guys be able to, really kind of get the wheels turning on this. Was monumental for us, and then that's what opened up the door for EMP to, even know what was going on, to kind of help push things further a little bit.
Oh wow, how neat is that?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a team effort. It's really been, like I said, a lot of these little blessings and these little miracles along the way, and we just had some great developments while we're up in New York City. We can't really say anything about it now. I mean, it's just going to help take it to that next level. So I mean, God is at work. We're very blessed and we're very appreciative, and we're just trying to keep focused on what's true.
And so right now, like I said, the record just came out June 3rd, and you guys are kind of out there promoting this. But are there plans being put in place for a tour? Does that kind of at this point depend on how well the album sells?
Yeah, no, we right now we're looking at our options and touring spots and all that kind of stuff, and making some pretty big announcements in the next 6 weeks or so.
Oh, cool. Well, we look forward to hearing that. Now, I was curious. when you were growing up, who were your heroes? Who were the guys that inspired you to become a singer, pick up a guitar?
Yeah, like I was saying, the whole Seattle sound that came out in the early 90s.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It got me going. Before that, I just grew up with a healthy dose of, classic rock. The Jimmy Brothers, like, Crazy Clearwater, and, all those bands back in the day.
And so, I was curious, this album you guys just released, the material on it, is it all, just written within the last couple of years? Is it material that's been laying around, for a number of years? The reason I ask that is oftentimes they'll say, you have your whole life to make your first album. So I imagine at the point when you guys went into the studio to start cutting this album, that you already had a lot of the stuff written.
Yeah, I mean, this whole thing started with some songs that I had for years that didn't fit one project or another. Peter just moved to the area. He was like, hey man, let's get together. Start going through some of the stuff you have, and I'll help you work with it. And as we started working with it, we fell in love with what we were doing. And so we started throwing the songs together, and looked at each other today. I think we have a band here.
And so I was curious, like, typically when you guys write, does it start typically with like a guitar riff, or do you ever come up with the lyrics first?
I mean, that's what I was going to say. From that point, we started going through some of Peter's ideas that he had from the past years, and I started writing over those.
Oh.
And then there were a couple of those songs that we threw together at the end, but it's not really going to be until the second record if we're going to be familiar enough with our sound and have a band to play enough to really be able to start writing along organic. We're looking forward to the future.
Yeah, and on that note, I got to ask you. So you've just got this one album out at this point, but are you also at the point with one album where you kind of think what your sound is, or are you still developing the sound? Would you say?
I mean, I think we left the door open to really head in a lot of different directions, and that's something that we're going to be able to push the boundaries on, for the second record. But we did definitely lay the foundation of what we're working, and what, like I was saying, what that conscious intention is behind the music, what that purpose is, what that message is. I think from there, we're going to be able to develop the music around that message, and that way, I think it'll allow us to adventure out more now, but to really be able to stay cohesive when it comes to the point and the purpose behind the music strategy.
Yeah, and even on this debut album, I was curious, when you guys were recording any of its songs, did you ever encounter any material where you thought, this is kind of outside the box and you didn't want to really go there, or were you, let's see where the song goes?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of songs that structurally are just a little different. They're not the typical verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. I mean, we mess around with length, and we mess around with structure a little bit, and kept it nice and sweet. I mean, so it's a little different, but everything sounds familiar. Like I said.
Yeah. And as far as recording, I was curious. Did you guys when you were recording, was the whole band in there recording it like as a live band, or does everybody record their parts separately?
It's very unorthodox. I mean, during the recording process, we only had 3 members of the band.
Oh wow.
Eric, drummer, so it was a very unorthodox process. Moving forward, we're going to be able to be a little more traditional, which is create these songs organically in a room together, and find the studio space to go in and track these songs.
And so again, like we were talking earlier, Donald, they typically say, you have your whole life to write your debut album. Now, with that being said, how happy were you and the rest of the guys in the band when you heard the final product? You turned it into a record label, and you got that copy of a press CD. What was that like to hold that final product in your?
It's great. I mean, it's been a time-consuming process, and for artists like us that have kind of been down this road before, one way or another, had to start over. You never know if you're going to get to do that again. You never know if you're going to hear that playback again. When it happens, it's a very rewarding experience.
And as far as
it's a very personal song.
Yeah.
To be able to hear them finish is very
and as far as as far as getting that feedback, from the people like we were talking earlier, as far as on the internet, how much do you enjoy that, getting that immediate feedback, like the day the album is released, people are automatically, going on your Facebook page and leaving comments. I mean, what's that like for you?
I mean, what you're waiting for is affirmation. Your babies.
Yeah.
So all that you're hoping is that it's going to have a positive impact on people that happen.
Yeah. Well, once again, but the final thing I really wanted, one thing I got to ask is, can you tell us how you guys came up with the band name? I always like to ask that.
You know, it's a dreaded process for a musician. You know, nothing ever sounds cool during the process, but you know, we really like the word Apollo, and you know, we thought once we started looking into the meaning behind it, you know, it's very poetic to what we stand for, and from there we just wanted to pair it up with something that.
Well, I'll tell you this. The reason, and the other reason I asked that is, you know, when I went on the website for the first time, that's one of the first things that really stood out is just the name, and I thought to myself, wow. Before I even heard a lick of music, I thought, wow, what a cool sounding name, and the name itself really, you know, I think grabs people's attention. So you
well, that's rewarding in itself right there. You know, if you get the name right, I guess.
It really makes you stand out. Well, I'd like to thank you so much, Donald, for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk to me today. And the interview we did here should be going up in about a month or so. And I'd like to maybe, once I have a chance to hear the whole album, talk to you again. And maybe we could talk a little more in detail about some of the specific songs on the album. But it was great talking to you today. And thanks again. So take care of yourself. Anything else you'd like to say to your fans out there?
No, I mean, we want to thank you for taking your time out. You know, I mean, we're going to do this transfer. We're going to try to be very personal, hands-on, and be able to talk about this and talk to your listeners. Very rewarding, and we appreciate it.
Okay, well, you're you know, you got a friend in us for life. So anytime you want to do this, feel free to reach out to us, and we'll be happy to help you guys spread the word about whatever you're promoting at the time. But take care, my friend.
Sounds good. Have a good one.
Okay, bye-bye.